before we go, wherever you are, sit down and get your head around this. Let me take you back to September 2014, when the former Margaret Thatcher advisor, Christopher Monckton, the third Viscount Monckton of Brenchley, dropped a bombshell in Australia when speaking to me on air. Lord Monckton said, quote, "Tony Abbott is a very good man and is known to the forces of darkness to be a very good man. They hate him." Lord Monckton said the elites knew Prime Minister Abbott wouldn't sign the United Nations Paris Climate Accord to force Australia to reduce its emissions drastically. As a result, Monckton told me they, quote, "need to guard Abbott's back because the Turnbull faction, in conjunction with the UN, will be doing their absolute best to remove him from office before December 2015 so that they can get a 100% wall-to-wall Marxist agreement in Paris." Well, barely 5 months after Monckton's speech, Turnbull moved an unsuccessful leadership motion against Mr Abbott, and eventually Abbott was removed. The rest is history. Well, Lord Monckton has done it again. In a recent interview with an Italian newspaper, the former Margaret Thatcher advisor gave several insights into the Green Revolution. I've been warning you of this, to which Australia has tragically fallen victim, Albanese, Bowen and co, and not much different on the other side. Monckton revealed that, quote, "For decades, the Disinformation Directorate of the KGB and its successor body, the FSB, which is the Federal Security Service, Russian, together with Chinese agents of influence, such as the Confucius Institutes at Western universities, have been working via communist-led environmentalist front groups such as Greenpeace, the Worldwide Fund for Nature, Oxfam, Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion to promote global warming alarm with the declared aim of destroying the economic hegemony of the West." Lord Monckton went on, quote, "One of the Directorate's first targets was Greenpeace, one of whose founders, Dr Patrick Moore, has said that when the communists moved in, he and other true environmentalists were driven out," unquote. Well, Lord Monckton has a plan to ward off this existential threat, which he says, quote, "is greatly benefiting the two communist-led states, Russia and China." Are our politicians listening? First, he says we need, quote, "a debate on whether the science behind the climate scam is soundly based." Next, he says Western nations, quote, "should make immediate plans to design and construct as many new coal-fired power stations as necessary," unquote. Third, all bans on fracking should be, quote, "immediately lifted," and all subsidies to wind, solar power and electric vehicles should be scrapped. Legislation, he said, must be passed to ensure social media platforms, quote, "can no longer ban, shadow ban or otherwise stifle or silence those who choose not to follow the communist position on climate," unquote. Similar legislation, he says, should also be passed to, quote, "prosecute environmentalists and environmental organisations for fraud when they profiteer by deliberately making inaccurate or pseudo-scientific claims," unquote. There's your plan. If only Australian politicians were prepared to even consider these proposals. That'd be a start, and surely a reasonable start. But if not, what is our future?